Imagine walking into your local grocery store and instead of being greeted by a wide variety of fruits, vegetables, and other food items, you encounter just rows and rows of empty shelves. This is the threat posed by climate change to our contemporary global food system. And so in this video, we're going to look at how climate change might impact our food system by looking at a handful of commodities. And let's start with coffee. Coffee is the world's most second-traded commodity after crude oil, with more than 2.2 billion cups consumed globally every day. About 125 million people worldwide are employed in coffee farming and production. Many of these are smallholder farmers in the Bean Belt, a region located between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn that provides the specific climatic conditions that coffee plants need to thrive. Indeed, the leading global coffee producers include Brazil, Vietnam, Colombia, Indonesia, and Ethiopia, coffee's geographic center of origin. More specifically, there are two main types of coffee, Arabica or coffee Arabica, and Robusta or coffee Conifera. Robusta is hardier and easier to grow, tolerating a wider range of climates and altitudes, and is generally more resistant to pests and diseases. But it has a harsher, more bitter taste, often described as grainy or rubbery. As a result, it's significantly cheaper and is generally used in blends or as instant coffee. The majority of coffee, about 60% of the global market, is the Arabica variety. Arabica is generally considered superior in flavor with a smoother, sweeter taste, but it's also more delicate and thrives in a narrower climatic range, requiring higher altitudes between 600 and 2,000 meters above sea level, stable temperatures between 18 and 25 degrees Celsius, and consistent rainfall. It's also more vulnerable to pests and diseases. But climate change poses significant challenges to coffee production. Increased temperatures stress coffee plants, reducing their productivity, affecting bean quality, and making them more susceptible to pests and diseases. As temperatures rise, suitable growing regions shift, forcing farmers to plant at higher altitudes where temperatures remain cooler, and the total land available for cultivation shrinks. Warmer temperatures can expand the range and life cycle of pests, like the coffee berry borer, leading to increased infestations and crop damage. The coffee berry borer is considered one of the most devastating pests of coffee worldwide, having spread to every coffee-growing region in the world. As global temperatures rise, the borer's habitat range has expanded to higher altitudes and its reproductive rate has accelerated, increasing annual damages to more than $500 million per year. Higher humidity and temperatures can also promote the spread of diseases like coffee leaf rust, which devastates coffee crops by damaging leaves and reducing photosynthesis. Indeed, CLR thrives in warmer temperatures, and climate change is permitting the rust to spread to higher growing altitudes, which previously had offered refuge for coffee plants. Total losses due to coffee leaf rust are estimated to be $1 to $2 billion annually, and climate change is causing this amount to increase. Unpredictable rainfall can disrupt coffee production. Periods of drought can severely impact coffee production by reducing water availability, leading to stressed plants and lower yields, while periods of increased excessive rainfall can lead to soil erosion, nutrient leaching, and increased incidence of fungal diseases like coffee leaf rust. Extreme weather events can cause significant damage to coffee plants and infrastructure. Sudden heat waves can cause heat stress and sunburn on coffee plants, negatively impacting growth and fruit development. Intense storms and flooding can cause immediate damage to coffee plants, infrastructure, and soil health. Recovery from such events can be slow and costly, often requiring massive reinvestment in infrastructure. Finally, changes in temperature and rainfall patterns can exacerbate soil erosion and nutrient depletion, making it difficult for coffee plants to thrive. Increased rainfall intensity can lead to soil erosion, reducing soil fertility and structure, which are crucial for healthy coffee growth. Climate change can also affect soil health through nutrient depletion and changes in soil microbial activity, impacting coffee plant nutrition and productivity. The collective impact of these changes could be profound. As temperatures rise, the ideal coffee growing regions are projected to shift. A 2020 study by the Climate Institute predicts that the total area available for coffee cultivation could be reduced by up to 50% by 2050. Traditional coffee growing regions in countries like Brazil, Vietnam, and Colombia may become less productive, while new regions at higher elevations may emerge as potential coffee producers. This shift will require significant adaptation and investment from farmers, potentially displacing communities and altering the landscape of the coffee industry. Additionally, warmer temperatures, unpredictable rainfall, and increased pest and disease pressures are expected to reduce coffee yields and quality. The International Center for Tropical Agriculture estimates a potential decline of between 10 and 20% by 2050. This could lead to higher prices for consumers and limit the availability of certain coffee varieties. Adapting to climate change will require significant investments in new farming techniques, pest and disease management, and infrastructure to cope with extreme weather events. These costs will likely be passed on to consumers, making coffee more expensive. The most vulnerable coffee farmers, particularly smallholder farmers in developing countries, will be hardest hit by climate change. Reduced yields and income could lead to poverty, food insecurity, and social unrest in coffee-growing communities. This could also trigger migration as farmers seek alternative livelihoods. The combined effect of reduced yields, changing quality, and increased costs could lead to significant disruptions in global coffee markets. Coffee prices would become more volatile, and certain varieties would become scarce or disappear altogether. This could impact coffee roasters, retailers, and consumers alike. Like coffee, global chocolate production also faces considerable climate-driven challenges. Chocolate, a beloved treat enjoyed by millions worldwide, is derived from the cacao tree, Theobroma cacao, a plant that thrives in tropical regions of the world. In fact, about 70% of the world's 3 million tons of cacao consumed annually is grown in West Africa, with Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana being the largest producers. The delicate cacao tree requires very specific growing conditions to produce high-quality beans, including consistent temperature ranges, high humidity, abundant rainfall, and nitrogen-rich soils. There are 3 main varieties of cacao: Forastero, Criollo, and Trinitario. Forastero is the most widely grown, accounting for roughly 80% of the world's cacao production. It is hardy, disease-resistant, and produces high yields, but is often considered inferior in flavor compared to the other varieties. As a result, it's most commonly used in blends or for making chocolate products like cocoa powder or dark chocolate. Criollo is the rarest and most prized variety of cacao. It's well known for its delicate flavor profile with notes of fruits, nuts, and spice. It's considered more complex and nuanced than other varieties, with a smoother, less bitter taste. However, Criollo is more susceptible to disease and pests, and its lower yield makes it less attractive for large-scale production. Trinitario is a hybrid of the other two, combining the best of both worlds. It offers a balance of good yields, disease-resistant, and a more complex flavor profile. Trinitario beans are often used in high-quality chocolate products and are sought after by chocolatiers and connoisseurs. All 3 varieties thrive in hot, humid climates near the equator, with temperatures between 21 and 30 degrees Celsius and constant rainfall ranging from 1,500 to 2,000 millimeters a year. These conditions are typically found in the tropical rainforests of West Africa, Central and South America, and Southeast Asia. But climate change poses significant threats to the delicate balance required for cacao cultivation. Increased temperatures can significantly stress cacao trees, reducing their productivity, affecting bean quality, and making them more susceptible to pests and diseases. Cacao trees thrive in a narrow temperature range, and higher temperatures can disrupt the tree's physiological processes, leading to reduced fruit set, smaller bean size, and lower yields. In addition, heat stress can make cacao trees more susceptible to pests and diseases. A single chocolate bar requires 450 gallons of water to produce, the majority of which is needed to grow the cacao. Unpredictable rainfall patterns disrupt the delicate balance of water availability that cacao trees need to thrive. Periods of drought stress the trees, leading to reduced yields and lower quality beans. Conversely, excessive rainfall can lead to waterlogging, which can damage roots and create favorable conditions for the spread of fungal diseases. It can also contribute to soil erosion and nutrient leaching. Consistent, adequate rainfall is crucial for cacao tree health and productivity, and climate change is making this increasingly unpredictable. Warmer temperatures can also expand the range and life cycle of pests like the cocoa pod borer and diseases like black pod disease and witch's broom. Pests thrive in warm, humid environments, and climate change can expand the range and increase the population, leading to greater crop losses. In addition, fungal diseases like frosty pod rot and witch's broom are also more likely to occur in warmer temperatures and can cause significant damage to cacao trees, leading to massive losses in yield. The cumulative impact of these climate-related stressors is far-reaching. As temperatures rise and rainfall patterns change, the suitable areas for cacao cultivation are expected to shift. According to a 2018 study by the International Center for Tropical Agriculture, the total area available for coca cultivation could be reduced by up to 30% by 2050, and the IPCC predicts that only 10% of current growing areas will be suited for cacao production by 2050. Traditional cocoa growing regions in countries like Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana will be less productive as production is forced to move to new regions at higher elevations. This could lead to major disruptions in the global chocolate industry, displacing communities and disrupting local economies. Additionally, warmer temperatures and unpredictable rainfall will increase pest and disease pressures and are expected to reduce cocoa yields and quality. A study by the International Cacao Organization estimates a potential decline of 20 to 30% by 2050. This could lead to higher prices for consumers and limit the availability of certain cacao varieties, affecting chocolate production and availability. In addition, the changes in the flavor profile caused by environmental stress could alter the taste of chocolate as we know it. Adapting to climate change will require significant investments from cacao farmers in new farming techniques, irrigation systems, and pest and disease management strategies. These costs will be passed on to consumers, making chocolate more expensive. Approximately 50 million people worldwide are employed in cacao farming and production, many of whom are smallholder farmers in West Africa and other cacao-producing regions in the world. These smallholder farmers will be hardest hit by climate change. Reduced yields and income could lead to greater poverty, food insecurity, and social unrest in cacao-growing communities, potentially even triggering migration as farmers seek alternative livelihoods. The combined effect of reduced yields, changing quality, and increased costs could lead to significant market disruptions in the global chocolate market. Chocolate prices would become more volatile, and certain varieties and origins may become scarcer and disappear altogether. The future of chocolate is uncertain, but one thing is clear: climate change poses a significant threat to the delicate balance required for cacao production. Fish and seafood production will also be impacted by climate change. Fish and seafood are vital sources of protein for billions of people worldwide, with over 3 billion people relying on seafood for at least 20% of their daily animal protein intake. The fishing and aquaculture industries employ more than 58 million people globally, many of whom are small-scale fishers in coastal communities. However, the delicate balance of marine ecosystems is being disrupted by climate change, posing significant challenges to fish and seafood production. There are two main sources of seafood: wild-caught fish and farmed fish, or aquaculture. Wild-caught fish are harvested from natural marine or freshwater environments, while farmed fish are raised in controlled environments such as ponds, tanks, or cages. Aquaculture has grown rapidly over the past couple of decades and now accounts for more than half of all fish consumed globally. Both wild-caught and farmed fish will be affected by climate change, but in different ways. Wild-caught fish are vulnerable to changes in ocean temperature, acidity, and currents. Many fish species have specific temperature preferences and migrate to find suitable conditions. As oceans warm, fish populations may shift their distribution, moving to cooler waters. This can disrupt traditional fishing grounds and impact the livelihood of fishing communities that depend on specific species. Farmed fish are also affected by climate change. Warmer water temperatures can lead to increased stress and susceptibility to disease in farmed fish. Additionally, changing rainfall patterns can affect water quality in aquaculture systems, leading to reduced growth rates and increased mortality. Additionally, higher temperatures can affect the metabolism, growth rates, and reproduction of marine species, leading to changes in fish population dynamics and productivity. The ocean also absorbs about 30% of the carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere. The absorption of increased levels of carbon dioxide by oceans leads to ocean acidification, which reduces the availability of calcium carbonate, a critical component for shells and skeletons of many marine organisms, like shellfish, corals, and some plankton species. Ocean acidification can impair the growth and survival of these species, potentially reducing the overall productivity of the marine system and the availability of key seafood resources. Climate change is also altering ocean currents, which play a crucial role in distributing nutrients and regulating ocean temperatures. Changes in currents can disrupt the distribution of fish populations and the productivity of fishing grounds. For example, warmer currents can push cold water species poleward, affecting fisheries that depend upon them. The frequency and intensity of extreme weather events like hurricanes, typhoons, and marine heat waves are also increasing due to climate change. These events can cause significant damage to coastal ecosystems and aquaculture facilities, leading to loss of life and economic disruption. Rising sea levels threaten coastal ecosystems, including mangroves, salt marshes, and estuaries, all of which serve as important habitats for many fish species. Sea level rise can also inundate coastal aquaculture facilities, leading to loss of production and economic damage. The collective impact of these climate-related stressors could have a profound impact for the future of fish and seafood production. As sea temperatures rise, the distribution of fish stocks is projected to shift. According to a study by the Food and Agriculture Organization, the total biomass of marine fish is expected to decrease by 3 to 10% by 2050, with significant regional variations. Traditional fishing grounds in tropical regions may become less productive, while new fishing areas may emerge at higher latitudes. This shift will require significant adaptation from fishers and fishery management authorities. The combination of warmer waters, ocean acidification, and overfishing is projected to lead to significant declines in fish stocks. A 2020 study published by the journal Science estimated that if greenhouse gas emissions continued at their current rate, the maximum sustainable catch potential of global fish stocks could decline by 20 to 25% by the end of the century, while shellfish populations could decline by over 25% during the same period. This would have severe implications for food security and the livelihood of millions of people who depend upon fishing, and likely leading to higher prices for consumers and reduced availability of certain fish and seafood species. And it's already happening. In 2022, the Alaskan snow crab fishery collapsed, with stocks virtually disappearing. This triggered an ongoing shutdown of the fisheries and cancellation of the snow crab season, the first time in history such a move was taken. The die-off was attributed to a marine heat wave. Warming waters led cod to migrate into the fisheries, increasing competition over food supplies. At the same time, the warmer waters stressed the crab, increasing their metabolism and need for food, ultimately leading to mass starvation and mortality. An estimated 10 billion crabs, some 90% of the local stock, was killed in the process. Climate change also poses significant risks to aquaculture. Warmer water temperatures can lead to increased disease outbreaks in farm fish, while changes in rainfall patterns can affect water quality and disrupt production. Extreme weather events can also damage aquaculture facilities and lead to loss of production. The most vulnerable fishing communities, particularly those in developing countries, will be hardest hit by climate change. Declining fish stocks and reduced catches could lead to economic hardship, increasing poverty, food insecurity, and social unrest. The combined effect of reduced catches, changing species distributions, reduced quality, and increased production costs could lead to significant disruptions in global seafood markets. Seafood prices would become more volatile, and certain species may become scarce or disappear altogether. Indeed, already species like Atlantic cod, Pacific salmon, Atlantic char, anchovies, scallops, and others have seen their numbers decline sharply. Ongoing declines could impact consumers, retailers, and the entire seafood supply chain. Wine will also be affected by climate change. The global wine industry is worth more than $300 billion, with more than 7.4 million hectares dedicated to vineyards. Leading global wine producers include France, Italy, Spain, the United States, and Australia, with the top three, France, Italy, and Spain, accounting for almost half of total global production. However, the impact of climate change poses significant challenges to this industry. There are numerous grape varieties used in wine production, each with specific climatic preferences. But the most widely grown species, accounting for about 90% of global production, is Vitis vinifera, and includes well-known varieties like Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Chardonnay, and Pinot Noir. These grapes thrive in temperate climates with distinct growing seasons, characterized by warm, dry summers and mild, wet winters. Optimal temperatures for grapevine growth range from 12 to 22 degrees Celsius, with consistent rainfall during the growing season being crucial for vine health and full development. Vitis vinifera grapes are considered superior for winemaking due to their complex flavors and aromas. However, they're more sensitive to environmental stressors than other grape varieties, making them more vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. Increased temperatures can stress grapevines, affecting their growth, productivity, and the quality of grapes. Warmer climates accelerate the ripening process, leading to higher sugar levels and lower acidity in grapes, altering the balance and flavor profile of the wine. Additionally, excessive heat can cause heat stress, sunburn on grape skins, and reduce yields. As temperatures rise, traditional wine-growing regions may become less suitable, forcing growers to seek higher altitudes or latitudes with cooler climates. Unpredictable rainfall can severely disrupt grape cultivation. Periods of drought can stress the grapevines, reducing yields and affecting grape quality. Insufficient water availability can hinder vine growth, leading to smaller, less juicy grapes. Conversely, excessive rainfall can cause waterlogging, increase the risk of fungal diseases, and dilute grape flavors. Consistent, adequate rainfall is essential for maintaining vine health and grape quality, and that consistency is being undermined by climate change. Warmer temperatures and changing weather patterns can also create favorable conditions for the spread of pests and diseases that affect grapevines. Extreme weather events like heat waves, storms, and frosts can cause significant damage to vineyards. Sudden heat waves can lead to heat stress and sunburn, negatively impacting grape growth and development. Intense storms can damage vines, knocking off developing grapes and leading to soil erosion. Early frosts can kill young buds and reduce yields, while late frosts can damage ripening grapes, affecting the quality and quantity of the harvest. And in some wine-growing regions, including California and Australia, climate change has exacerbated fire season, with massive wildfires becoming more common. Such fires obviously pose a direct threat to the vineyards, but even when not directly affected, smoke taint caused by wildfires can affect the flavor of the grape and render entire vintages unsellable. The 2020 fire season, for example, caused an estimated $3 billion in damages to the California wine industry, with more than 165,000 tons of wine grapes left unharvested due to smoke taint. The collective impact of these climate change stressors will have a profound impact on the wine industry. As temperatures rise, the ideal wine-growing regions are projected to shift. According to a study by the American Association for the Advancement of Science, the total area suitable for grape cultivation in traditional wine regions could decline by up to 56% by 2050. Regions like Bordeaux, Tuscany, and Napa Valley may become less productive, while new regions at higher altitudes or latitudes like England, Tasmania, and parts of Canada may emerge as potential wine producers. This shift will require significant adaptation and investment from growers, potentially displacing communities and altering the landscape of the wine industry. Warmer temperatures, unpredictable rainfall, and increased disease and pest pressure are expected to reduce grape quality and yields. The International Organization of Vine and Wine estimates a potential decline in global wine production of 10 to 20% by 2050. This could lead to higher prices for consumers and limit the availability of certain wine varieties, as varieties like Pinot Noir, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and Rieslings are particularly sensitive to heat stress. Adapting to climate change will require significant investment from grape growers. They may need to invest in irrigation systems, new grape varieties that are more tolerant of heat and drought, and pest and disease management strategies. Insurance rates are increasing as a result of the growing threat of wildfires. All of these costs are likely to be passed on to consumers, making wine more expensive. The most vulnerable grape growers, particularly small-scale and family-owned vineyards in traditional wine regions, will be hardest hit by climate change. Reduced yields and income could lead to financial instability and loss of livelihood. The loss of traditional wine regions could have cultural and economic implications affecting tourism and heritage. The combined effect of reduced yields, changing quality, and increased costs could lead to significant disruptions in global wine markets. Wine prices could become more volatile, and certain varieties or regions less available or disappear altogether. And it's not just these crops. According to the International Food Policy Research Institute, global wheat production is projected to decline by 10 to 15% by 2050 as a result of extreme weather events, droughts, and heat waves. This would reverse a long-standing trend of increasing yields and pose a major threat to global food security. Rice crops are similarly threatened. Because rice is particularly dependent on stable water and temperature ranges, changes in rainfall patterns and increased salinity from rising sea levels are projected to reduce global rice yields by 15 to 20% by 2050, according to the International Rice Research Institute. Heat stress and drought associated with climate change can significantly impact corn yields, with the National Academy of Sciences projecting up to a 30% decrease in global corn production by the year 2100. Fruits will also be affected. Climate change is increasing the spread of fungal diseases like tropical race 4, which could significantly reduce banana yields and threaten the availability of the Cavendish variety, the most widely consumed banana globally. Indeed, the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture projects a 10 to 15% decline in banana yields by 2050. Warmer temperatures and altered chilling patterns can disrupt apple flowering and fruit set, potentially leading to a 10% decrease in global apple production by 2050. Rising temperatures and extreme weather events like heat waves and frost can negatively impact cherry production, potentially reducing yields by up to 30% in some regions, according to the USDA. Closer to home, droughts and heat stress associated with climate change are projected to reduce avocado yields by 40% in California by 2050. Similarly, warmer winters and more frequent drought threaten to reduce California's almond production by up to 20% by 2050, as almond trees require specific chill hours and stable water availability to grow. Climate change is altering the timing of flowering plants and increasing stress on bee colonies, leading to declines in honey production. In some regions, honey yields have already decreased by up to 50%, with further declines projected into the future. Maple syrup production depends on specific temperatures for sap flow. Warmer winters and early springs can disrupt this process, leading to lower yields. As a result, maple syrup production could decline by up to 40% by the year 2100. We could go on and on. Peaches, olives, rye, peanuts, tea, hops, and barley, soybeans, nearly every crop around the world will be impacted by climate change. Finding ways to adapt to climate change by developing new cultivars more suited for growing under stressful conditions, developing farming methods that function under warmer and less predictable weather patterns, and other similar initiatives will thus be crucial for ensuring an adequate food supply into the global future. But that's it for now. As always, please leave any questions you have in the comments section below, and thanks for watching.